everyone, welcome back to my channel. I have a memory plan with me for you today, and this week is a special one because I'm using a kit called Evergreen from Oddloop, and Evergreen happens to be my 2021 word of the year, so I knew that I was going to use this kit sometime in January, and that's also what I'd like to talk about today while I put down the base of the spread. But before that, I wanted to quickly mention that I don't have the full kit here. Jessie has an option where you can choose the sheets that you want, and I chose 3. When I purchased it, I thought I was still going to be in a B6, so that's why, and I tend to only use certain stickers. So anyway, let's talk about Evergreen. So Evergreen is my 2021 word of the year, and for me, what that means is investing in what is meaningful and lasting. And the word evergreen first popped up on my radar around March of last year from work, actually, and it was used in a context that is not typically what I think of when I think of the word evergreen. Like, I usually think of pine trees, but because it was taken to mean evergreen as in lasting, it really stood out to me. And then later on, Oddloop came out with this kit called Evergreen, which I love. I love pine trees. I love that this kit reminds me of skiing in Lake Tahoe in the winter. Later that year, John Legend came out with a song called Remember Us, and in there he sings about a love that's evergreen. So basically, evergreen, the word, just kept popping up in 2020 for me, so I knew that going into this year, I wanted that to be my word of the year, because that's also how I chose my word last year, which was Phoenix, because it kept popping up in 2019. And there are a couple more quotations that further define evergreen for me, which I would love to share with you because I love them so much. And the first one is from The Goldfinch, which is a novel by Donna Tartt. If you care for a thing enough, it takes on a life of its own, doesn't it? And isn't the whole point of things, beautiful things, that they connect you to some larger beauty? Those first images that crack your heart wide open, and you spend the rest of your life chasing or trying to recapture in one way or another. The pieces that occur and recur. Maybe for someone else, it wouldn't be an object. It'd be a city, a color, a time of day. And the other one is from The Argonauts by Maggie Nelson. The pleasure of abiding. The pleasure of insistence, of persistence. The pleasure of obligation, of dependency. The pleasures of ordinary devotion. The pleasure of recognizing that one may have to undergo the same realizations, write the same notes in the margin, return to the same themes in one's work, relearn the same emotional truths, write the same book over and over again, not because one is stupid or obstinate or incapable of change, but because such revisitations constitute a life. So that about wraps up the first part of this memory plan with me. We did get a little bit deep, I believe, but let me know what your word of the year is, if you have one for 2021, because I would love to hear it. Let's go to Monday. So for work this week, I'm using a work script from Scribble Prints Co. along with these evergreen stickers that I made for myself, which will look familiar because I use them for my Vlogmas intro and to mark Planmas. And on top, I put some twinkles from Letters from Lay. So that morning, I decided that I did want a custom A5 cover for my Hobonichi from Eternal Leather Goods. So I emailed them to ask them if it was possible, and I used a bow from My Newest Addiction to mark that. Then we had Chinese takeout for lunch, and the takeout sticker is from White Deer Stationery, which I love so much because so much of our takeout comes in those brown paper bags. Of course, I had to pull in my favorite white snowflakes from Honey Inked. I also wanted to foil up the full boxes ever so slightly because I didn't want to take anything away from it. So I ended up pulling these little floral accents from Letters from Lay and occasionally some clouds as well. And then I put down a half box because I did film that day. Actually, I have to correct myself. I think those floral accents are also from Honey Inked. So definitely a very Honey Inked filled spread this week. And then at the end of Monday, I designed some D-stash inserts for my personal rings. So I used a laptop from White Deer Stationery along with a flag from Sesavi. That was my first time designing any type of insert, and I definitely had no idea what I was doing. But I think the inserts turned out pretty nice, and I'm happy with it. The only thing is I I didn't have enough big brain energy to make them double-sided, so next time I will have to work on that. But I did share them in my personal flip. That was the last video that went up. And then on Tuesday, I marked the video that went up with a a bow from Clever Gal Crafts. Also, you'll see me pull in these page flags from cloth and paper, which I used an adhesive roller from Tombow to put down. And now I have an excuse to buy every color of that page flag because it's the perfect size and they come in such pretty colors and it's such a good deal. Like, they're pretty inexpensive for how many you get, especially compared to stickers. Then I put down a Hobonichi box from Once More With Love, and I covered the red bow with a box because the red obviously didn't really go with the kit. But I did destash one of my A6 Foxies that day, and I wanted to mark that down. Then I decided I didn't really want to use the yellow that came into the kit. I love the yellow in the full boxes, but I just didn't love it in like bigger sections of the planner as a color, so I went with the washi that I used at the bottom. Then I moved back over to Tuesday. So Bravey by Lexi Pappas came out this day and I had pre-ordered it, so it arrived same day, which I was so excited for because Alexi is a huge inspiration for me, not just in running but creatively as well, and just in life in general. And then I did take a walk that day and do some hands-free yoga because this was the week that my hand was pretty sore. And at the end of the night, I caught up with my journaling and I used this planner sticker from Vanstickie. Moving on to Wednesday, I first marked work and then I used a Crafts by Kawaii sticker to mark that I painted my nails. I did make this drink, which I had been making quite a bit recently. It's basically an Earl Grey, like I'll have Earl Grey instead of coffee in the morning now, and then I'll save the coffee for the afternoon. So what I'll do is I'll keep the tea bag inside my cup and pour my coffee in there because I like a little bit of that Earl Grey flavor infused. And my mom saw me do that and told me that in Hong Kong, a drink like that is called yin yang, which I love so much because I think it's so pretty. And basically a yin yang drink is half coffee and half tea, which is the best of both worlds. Sorry to those of you who prefer one over the other or don't like either, but I like them both equally, so it works out really well for me. And then on Wednesday evening, I continued to film and journal, and this flat lay sticker is from Fox and Pip. And then I had an Olipop root beer float, which is so delicious. It's one of my favorite drinks. So Olipop is like a sparkling tonic, like a healthy sparkling tonic, and it tastes really good combined with vanilla ice cream, better than a normal root beer float. So I highly recommend that. Moving on to Thursday, the first thing that I put down was a full box, and this is one of my favorite full boxes. I love the little fox. So cute, and those yellow flowers as well. I did run after work that day, and then I ran some errands. So I used some clouds to mark the errands. And I also picked up boba for my siblings and me. And the boba text script was from my shop, and the boba sticker is from Once More With Love. And then that evening, I held a Destash fundraiser for Jace, who is Rachel from Gathered Plans' dog, who unfortunately got attacked. So he had to go into emergency surgery, and she was doing a GoFundMe to help cover the costs. So I used this Better Together Munchkin to mark that. I believe, I can't remember, I think Once More With Love sold it for a fundraiser as a digital, and I thought it was just so perfect to mark that. And throughout this week, I ended each night reading Bravey, which was such a great way to end the night. So I used a snowflake, again from Honey Inked, and then a foiled book from Magic Prints Co. Moving on to Friday, I first marked work, and then I used this Maru from Paper Milk to mark that I was super anxious and overwhelmed because work was getting crazy again since I onboarded onto a new project. So I'm on 2 projects now, and I think it always one gets crazy when you're onboarding onto something new, and then also trying to juggle and allocate time to both projects is a little bit more difficult than just having like a singular focus. I had a full press of Blue Bottle that day, which probably didn't help, but I don't know. Anyway, I did order from my newest addiction that day because Laura came out with this anti-Valentine kit, which I thought was so cute, and I definitely had to have it to use this year. And then I also ran some errands with my mom after work, so I just grouped them all together with this girl from Oddloop. And I wanted to put a little something at the bottom there because the icon and the flag kind of went down a little bit deeper than the words. So I ended up pulling in this divider from Jackson Pepper and I just cut it up a little bit to make it fit. And then I'm adjusting the washi strip and the box because I realized that I packed my destash bundles before I ran errands, and I like to have my memory planner in chronological order if possible. And since it was Friday night, I of course had to wind down, so I used this It's Wine O'Clock sticker from Caffeine and Paper Co. along with a flower. And I also ended the night with some yin yoga, and this yoga mat is from Planning Like a Pro. Whew, I just kind of lost my breath there. I don't know why. Maybe I'm out of shape, or I guess I get out of breath when I'm tired. I don't know. Anyway, I apologize for that. Moving on to the weekend, I put down the full boxes first, and then I pulled in a weekend banner from ColourPop paper, which matches the date covers. And then I added some foil to the boxes. They are so pretty. It genuinely reminds me of the view when I'm skiing in Lake Tahoe, which now that I think about it, it's been 2 years, I think, since I last went skiing, which is really long because I usually go at least once a year. On Saturday, I used these flowers from White Deer Stationery to mark that I went to the farmer's market. And then we had dim sum for lunch, and that's from Wonton in a Million. Then I marked that I uploaded my memory plan with me for week 1. And while I was editing that day, there was an earthquake, which always kind of startles me. And I didn't really have an appropriate sticker to mark that, so I ended up using a cloud, which is super random. And that night I stayed up late to finish Bravey because I just couldn't resist. I had meant to read it pretty slowly, like a couple of chapters a night, but it was just too good, so I ended up finishing it. And then on Sunday, actually this past, since Thursday, I had been feeling sick because my sister and I ate some salad from Trader Joe's, and the nice thing about living with my family is that through process of elimination of what we eat, we can kind of figure out what makes us sick. So we came to the conclusion that it was a Trader Joe's salad because it made us both sick after eating it, and we were the only 2 people that ate it. So I really was not feeling well. So I slept in, and then I ate lunch, and then I went back to sleep. My mom really kindly made me some ginger tea at night. And then before I went to bed, I helped my brother review his resume. That's about it for the spread. I'm currently going over to the sidebar to finish filling it out. So I put down what I was reading, what I was drinking, and what I was feeling. So as always, let me know if there are any questions about where anything is from. And of course, I have all the shops and coupon codes that I have linked in the description bar. Here is a VivWiggle to show you all of the silver foil in this spread. I love how this turned out. It is one of my favorite spreads ever. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you're all taking good care, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!